Miss Anna, first of all, I do appreciate your time, and we'll be hopping around with a lot of stuff here. But first of all, I got to ask you, to win a world title, at that level. I mean, what was that like for you? Like when you found out you won, what was your reaction? What was your response?
Just tears, honestly. I just cried because for anybody to win a world title, it's incredible. It's huge. But there's so much baggage that goes with it for me. And there's such a backstory. And I think it's everyone's dream to win nationals or even go to nationals, go to worlds, win worlds. And that was always my dream. But that is a dream that I really just kind of had to accept that it would never happen. And so when I was not only able to compete, but when I won, it was just, I just cried.
Now, you started skating at the age of 8, so you've been skating, skating's been in your life more than your life, nearly 20 years. Take me back to your first memory when you got on the ice.
Fear. I was very afraid of skating at first, but skating has always had this very unusual pull on me. It was like I was afraid of it, but I wanted to do it so badly, and it had such an influence over me, and I was so fascinated by it, and I thought it was beautiful, and there's something about the ice that has always called to me. And so I fought through the fear, and my mom signed my sister and I up for Learn to Skate. And after that first session of Learn to Skate, I remember telling my mom, I really like ice skating, Mom. I really like it. Yeah.
What's the mentality you have to be a figure skater? Because obviously it's hours of training for a moment, for a program that lasts a few minutes, but you put so many hours, days, years, weeks into it. What's the mentality you have to be a figure skater?
Incredible mental toughness. Skating is incredibly hard physically, but also mentally. It's not a very forgiving sport. And so in the sense that obviously ice is not forgiving, you fall and you can hurt yourself pretty badly. But also a lot of times the way skating is evaluated, the way skaters are evaluated, the way they're judged, you're expected to be perfect. And that can really take a toll. And if you don't have just this unquenchable love of the sport, it's very hard to stick with it.
Who are some of the skaters that you looked up to and look up to even now?
Michelle Kwan, hands down. She is the reason that I started skating. I had a poster of her on my wall when I was, probably from when I was 7 until I was about 10. I have just always, she was one of the only skaters that was able to truly connect with people's emotions and bring that onto the ice. And that was so inspiring for me and was something that I knew I wanted to be able to do even from a very early age.
Now, obviously, we'll talk a little bit about your health situation and, from how it started to where we are today. But just talk about, when did you start feeling badly? And then, obviously, the time that, you were your own advocate and you got diagnosed with cystic fibrosis.
Right. Excuse me. I knew, and this is going to sound weird, but, I knew all my life that there was something wrong with me. I was sick all the time. I would get very sick at times, and my parents would take me to the doctor. They would explain what was going on, And the answer we kept getting was, she's fine. It's asthma. She'll outgrow it. You know, it's this, it's that, it's a cold, it's the flu. And I think deep down, I knew, I definitely knew it was more than that. Because it wasn't just an isolated thing, it started spreading into other things. I started having major issues with my digestive system, and I really kind of took it upon myself to do my own research. I got very into nutrition, and tried really everything that I possibly could in order to feel better, and it just wasn't working. Yeah, so I think around the time I was about 13 was when I really knew something is majorly wrong. And after that, you know, getting into high school and then college, it was very apparent that I was very sick.
And then, you know, where was like the tipping point where it's just kind of just hit you full bore that you were really having issues?
Yeah. I graduated high school and I moved up to the University of Delaware to train at the university with Olympic level coaches. And I had gone from skating about 2.5 hours a day to skating about 4 hours a day. And my health was already kind of on a downward slope. I was very thin, very sick. But doctors were still telling me, oh, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to eat more. And I was like, it's not helping, you know. And it was when I was in Delaware that things really peaked. And I got incredibly sick and ended up having to move home. And it was a very convoluted journey of getting a diagnosis, but ultimately it was this random lung infection that I had gone to the Physicians Treatment Center. I thought I had strep, and the doctor cultured it out, and she said, you have something that normal people can't get, and you need to figure out why you have it. And so I really did my own research, honestly, and I had already been tested for AIDS. Like, I hadn't just been through chemotherapy. We knew that all of the boxes had been checked except the cystic fibrosis one. And I remember looking at my computer, you know, looking at all the reasons why someone could have this lung infection, and I looked at my mom and I was like, they would have known. Like, you get diagnosed when you're like 2. You know, they would have known if I had this. And so they referred me to a CF specialist, and I got the diagnosis a couple months later.
So at the age of 20, you found out that you had cystic fibrosis?
Yep, it was a month before I turned 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess the biggest thing is that so is it safe to say you had it all your life, and it just finally at the age of just when you're 20, you found out you had it, but you had it all your life?
Yes, CF is genetic, so I was born with it. And like I said, I knew it was there. Like, I was not surprised. I was surprised that it was CF, but I was not surprised when a doctor said to me, you have a terminal illness, because I knew something was wrong. And I had been saying that. But yeah.
How long were you off the ice? Because obviously it was a long stretch you were off the ice.
I was off the ice for 5 years. And those were the hardest years of my life, physically, but also, you know, skating was and is still such, obviously, a massive part of my life, that going through such physically demanding and difficult things, health struggles, without the one thing that I can do to make everything bearable was really hard. But when I was diagnosed, was in active kidney and liver failure. I still have chronic kidney disease. I had very severe chronic pancreatitis and a complete intestinal obstruction. So I was in very bad shape when they finally caught it, I guess. And so that stretched into 5 years of, and I mean this quite literally, in and out of the hospital. Hospitalized, discharged, hospitalized, discharged. I had 4 abdominal surgeries, reconstructive abdominal surgeries, and I will say my health tremendously improved after those surgeries, and I got this crazy idea. I wonder if I could skate again, and I really told myself, I know what I've been through. I need to just like do it for fun, enjoy it. But once I got out there, it was like I could breathe again, and I could feel my heart again.
So is it safe to say it was a couple of years ago you got back on the ice, like what, 20? Is it safe to say, so when you were, so roughly 6 years ago is when you got diagnosed, so would that be, okay, so was it 2017?
I had to get off the ice at the end of 2014.
Okay, 14.
And so I got back on November of 2019.
Wow, so
Yep.
you've been back on the ice for roughly 3.5 years.
Yes, yes.
And you said it was the greatest feeling in the world. Now, let's get to the part of the inclusion skating, because is this something that happens every year? Is it every 4 years or every 2? Is it every year?
The World Championships is every year, yes. And I knew about this organization. I never thought that I would be able to compete. I have trained for nationals multiple years in a row, and something inevitably happens. I have to have another surgery. I go in the hospital. I get injured, something. And so this, I was invited to participate in this, and I was like, I have to do this. I have to do it. And it was a truly wonderful experience.
And if I'm not mistaken, you won 2 world titles.
I did.
What were those in again? I know it was one free skate, right?
Yes, yeah. So I don't jump anymore. I do ice dance. I'm not able to jump anymore. So I won the senior level, which in the UK it's referred to as level 6, solo free dance. So I won that category, and then I won level 7 compulsory elements.
So I guess the biggest question I gotta ask you is, what is or what was your motivation to A, get back on the ice, and B, compete at this level?
When I got back on the ice, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would, first of all, finish my tests. I still had quite a number of tests in the U.S. figure skating test program that I had to pass in order to get my gold medal from U.S. figure skating. I honestly just wanted to get on to just feel the ice under my feet again. And then I started going once a week, twice a week, and the more I was like, wow, my body is actually doing this. What is going on? How is this possible? With my butchered, half functional body, I'm able to somehow do this. And it really just kind of, I just kept doing it. I kept going, I kept practicing. And again, it was this crazy idea, I'm gonna try to test again. I'm gonna try to get through the rest of these tests. And I never thought I would compete. I didn't know if I would be able to get through the rest of the tests, but I did. Over the course, I think I ended up passing my free skate, my last free skate in March of 2021. I passed my last moves in the field at the same time. which is a miracle in and of itself because that was the last time I was ever able to jump. And then I passed my senior free dance and senior pattern dances just a few months ago. So,
with all that you've gone through a lot, you know, health-wise, and to get back on the ice. What are some of the things that you would say to someone that maybe is going through a situation like you went through and still are going through in order to have a successful, healthy, functioning life?
Yeah. Honestly, there are very few things you can say to someone that is really going through it. And I say that because I know, and there really are no words. But what I would encourage someone to remember is that miracles happen. Miracles happen every day, and you might be one. And not only should you fight to believe that and fight to wait to see it happen in your life, but that by you sharing your story, you are helping so many people have hope for even just hanging on for one more day.
That's awesome. And obviously, now how long have you been working at the Lancelot?
I started working at Lancelot, I think it was like December of 2019, so it was very soon after I actually got back on the ice. I knew there was a job opening, and I was like, yes, I'll do it.
What's it like training these youngins? I mean, because obviously, you know, they started at an age when you started. How neat is it and how special is it to help these youngins get out there?
Oh, it is the best. It is a blast. To see someone else grow a passion for something that you are so passionate about, and that you have a role in growing that passion, it is priceless. It really is.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add or anything I might have missed?
I don't think so.
I kind of covered it all, didn't I?
I think you did.